What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Make an Impact podcast with real stories, real people, and real impact. My name is Stephen Turnbull. I'm an entrepreneur, a father, and a husband that's on a mission to empower individuals to share their stories so that they can make an impact on you. We have a super exciting episode. One of my best friends, Mr. Nathan Durant, he's the owner of Durant Home Inspections and Durant Radon Solutions. An incredible story. When you think of entrepreneurs that have that entrepreneurial bug, you usually think, oh, they probably started off with a lemonade stand. Not in this case. You're going to hear a great story of his first business and how he got that entrepreneur bug at a young age. I can't wait for you to listen to it. Let's talk about Nathan Durant. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Make an Impact podcast. We have a very special guest, very, very special guest in the chair today. He is thrilled to be here. It's been a long time coming. It's hard to get you nailed down.
Yes.
You're a busy man.
Yes.
My good friend, my very good friend, Mr. Nathan Durant, owner of Durant Home Inspections and Durant Radon Mitigation or Solutions.
Durant Radon Solutions.
Perfect. Trying to just keep the eye contact. I don't want to look down at my notes, but the solutions is right there.
You're good.
Preparation. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Thanks for having me. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
First-time caller. Buzz him in. He's calling. Buzz him in right now. That's the phone. We didn't have the phone system hooked up, but we heard it buzz every other time. So that was you.
Yeah.
All right. This is super cool. All kidding aside, we've been trying to get you in here. You have an incredible story. You are very inspiring with what you've done with your business. I want to talk about that and get into the two sections of your business and all the journey, and we can share all our funny stories and all that for the people at home. But tell us about Nathan Durant. Tell us about yourself, and then we'll get into the business.
Nathan Durant from a small town, Munnsville, New York.
Munnsville, New York. Calling in.
We graduated about 40 kids, so smallest school for a lot of people. A lot of people don't know where Munnsville is. So grew up on the farm, working on farms, and finished high school, went to Morrisville, college, just because I felt like I had to go to college.
I must say.
Everyone said I had to, yep. But don't regret it. Left there, started a Clinton tractor, worked there for probably 6 years between college and full-time, and then started the Durant Home Inspections.
For all the viewers at home,
Full-time.
Nathan's very well known when we go on vacations together. When anybody ever asks, where are you from? People say, New York, from Idaho. Nathan says very proudly, Munnsville, New York.
Yep.
And usually if you get a couple people that had a couple cocktails and they're like, oh, I know where Munnsville is. Nobody has any idea. That's a funny story for another time.
Yep. Las Vegas pool.
Yes. The Las Vegas pool. That was one time. Yep. On a cruise ship a couple times.
Yeah.
I want to get into the story of just starting the business and then get into the business and how you can help people. But you talked about went to college, just kind of went to college because I wanted to, then got the job at Clinton Tractor. You were working there for a little bit and then went on and started your own business and started part-time and then started kind of filling that in. Talk to us about like where was the idea, the bug to be an entrepreneur and start your own business? Where did that come from?
So I've always wanted to be work for myself. Growing up between, I think, the ages of like 11 to 16, 17, I used to buy and sell cows, believe it or not.
Cows?
Yeah. So at one time I had 12, almost a herd. I used the
In your
neighbor's
bedroom?
barn. No, I used the neighbor's barn. I would do chores for him at night. He would house my cows and bought them young, grew them up, and then sold them. Just a way to make
How
money.
are the margins?
So I was always trying to hustle.
How are the margins on that?
Good. I mean, it took 2 years, but you buy a calf for $100 back then. I don't know what they sell for now, and you could sell, a bred heifer for $1,500.
That's a great
But you
ROI.
had to raise them for 2 years, so you had food and time, and but it was a good deal and a good way to make money.
I never knew that about you.
Yes,
We're very good friends for the last several years, and
Yep.
see, that's the beauty about the podcasting world. I never knew that about
so
you.
that's
Just
probably
hold
what
it right
started
out.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Trading
yeah.
cows, not lemonade. Hold my
Yeah.
beer with the lemonade stand. We're gonna trade cows.
Yep. From Munnsville, there's only so many ways to make money.
So you got the bug for making money by doing that, and then what?
So again, I did that, and I always said I wanted to work for myself, but I didn't have, any money, when you're 17 years old, going to college. And again, everyone just else was going to college or going to get a job. And I'm like, all right, I don't want to work, on someone's farm for the rest of my life. I better just go to college. And again, I don't regret it, but, looking back, I realized maybe I didn't need it, but don't regret it because, from there I got the job at Clinton Tractor, which kind of taught me, everyone there had, side gigs they were doing. So it taught me to always have a side gig. So it just, ingrained that work ethic, I guess, and realizing you got to hustle to make money. So, so went to college, Clinton Tractor, and like I said, probably 5 years in, I went and got my home inspection license, and started doing it part time. And it was doing it on the weekends. Then I went down to 4 days a week there, and they were very good about that. And then it was down to 3 days a week. And then I was at the point where I was supposed to be there 3 days a week, but every Monday I was going in, and I was like, listen, Dan, I can't work Wednesday. I got appointments booked. So I was working 1 to 2 days a week there. And like I said, they were very good about it. And eventually I'm just like, all right,
got to jump in.
Yeah. I'm spending way more time doing home inspections. Just take the small step. At that point, it was just a small step.
Okay. So I'm going to correct you. It's not a small step. Going into business for yourself was a big step. Talk to us about that, going from, okay, I had this steady income from a job, even though it went down to part-time or whatever, to now it's 100% on me, and the learning curve around all that, and maybe what you expected, what you didn't expect when you were truly your own business owner.
Yeah. I was nervous. We just sold our house at the time, so I had a little money from that too saved up. So I had a good 6 months of reserves. It's like, if I don't have any business and I'm sitting on the couch in 6 months, I'll go find a job, right? They say you can't lose if you don't play, but you can't win if you don't play, right?
Can we trademark that here at the Make An Impact podcast? I'd love that.
I heard that in a song today, so I wanted to use it.
We're gonna trade that. Nobody else can use that. We're using that only on the Make An Impact podcast.
Yeah. So, and I realized if I take this jump, go do my business, if it fails terribly, I'll just end up back exactly where I was, another job, which was fine. So I figured there wasn't a lot of risk there, really. And again, I worked into it slowly, 4 days a week, 3 days a week, down to working 1 day a week where my paycheck wasn't, a lot. I had those reserves. When I did take that jump, just expecting it's going to be hard. There's not going to be a lot of business right off. I'm not going to be busy every day. I got to market, yada, yada. But honestly, the more time you put into something, the more you get out of it, which everyone says that, but you don't realize it.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like the first week I was done at Clinton Tractor full time in business, and I was sitting outside at our patio there, and I had 5 radon mitigation calls that day, the most I've ever gotten. It was just like, what are the chances that I quit my job, and all of a sudden the phone starts ringing. But literally, the more you put into it, obviously, the more you get out of it. And it's very true.
Where did the home inspections come for you? Why home inspections?
So yeah, but when we bought our first house, that was maybe 2021. Had a home inspector inspect our house, actually. His name was Chris Bacoda. I butchered his last name. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago, actually. But, I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool job. And it was kind of in the back of my mind. My father-in-law, he's a roofer. And I liked helping him. Roofing is really hard work, but I just liked it because it was good, hard, honest work, I just like to sweat, I guess. I don't know. And I liked doing that with him, and I was almost willing to take that over. And he said, you don't want to take this over. He's 60 years old now, does roofs by himself. He's starting to get wore out, So I wanted, that balance where, I can do this at 60 if I want to, and still feel okay, not be taking 3-4 Advil every morning, to get up and start moving. So it kind of fulfilled that, I had somewhat of a passion for construction. We remodeled our first house, remodeled our second house. Now we're buying another house to remodel. My wife loves living in a construction zone all the time.
Yes, I can attest. She loves that.
Passion for construction, I guess, and doing it in a long, I can get a longevity out of it, I guess, and not wear out.
So what is it? What does it look like from idea to implementation of I want to be a home inspector? Like what's the schooling and the process of becoming a home inspector and starting your own business?
It's so you got to get your license first. So it's a 4-month school. I went to Syracuse. It was 3 nights a week. I would go in a Saturday. So I'd go after work. I think it started at 6, ended at 10, drive to Syracuse, do the class, drive home. 3 nights a week, and then Saturdays were like our mock inspection. So did that class. That was 2020. COVID hit the last week of class or something. So then once you get through the class, you have to pass their test, and then you have to take a New York State test to get licensed because it's licensed through New York State. Well, they shut down all their testing centers for COVID. So I actually wasn't able to do my test till November. And so I did, or October. Later that year, I did my test. It took a couple weeks for it to come back, pass. Then I could apply for my license. So I got my license. And the one good thing about COVID is it gave me time to set up, the logo, some of the processes, get my home inspections down. So I was kind of, it allowed me to build up before even starting, which was a blessing almost, I think, instead of just going right into it.
What's something you look, how many years now has it been full-time?
Full-time, 4. 3.5. Yeah, 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
So looking back at that now, like what's some things in like the everyday work that you didn't expect from a business owner standpoint, not necessarily focusing on the home inspection, but from being part-time, this was something I did on Saturdays, then it was something I did on Saturdays and Wednesdays, then it was something I did on Saturdays, Mondays and Wednesdays, and then to this is it, and I'm in charge of my own journey with this. What are some things looking back that you didn't realize?
I guess the phone rings a lot.
The phone rings a lot, yeah.
Whether it's, a realtor to talk to, a client to talk to, a booking, or, someone with questions that just needs help. So I spend more time in the office than I prefer to, whether that's on the computer or the phone, just scheduling things, writing reports, stuff like that. So that's a big part of it. Like I'll do 2 inspections a day, at most. If it wasn't for the report and calling people back and the text and stuff, you could probably fit 3, possibly 4, depending on what time you start.
Right.
So I spend quite a bit of time in the office. Sometimes I think I'm done early and go to the office to do a couple of things. Next thing you know, it's 8, 9 o'clock at night, and you're like, oh, well, there goes my evening. But and I was never a big office guy. I always liked to be in the field outside, doing something like that.
The roller dogs at Stewart's are a big hit for you.
Yes. They
love them at Stewart's. I see them coming. Put more dogs down. Nathan's coming in.
A lot of gas station food because you're always on the road. My truck is my office. I usually write up one report in the truck every day. On lunch, get Stewart's, get a hot dog.
Maybe we can get a roller dog Stewart sponsorship.
I've stopped eating roller dogs.
About a year ago. Our heart here right on the show.
Yep. So
had to cut them out, huh?
Yeah, I feel a lot better. Been trying to eat better. Mohawk Valley Wellness.
Yeah.
So Jay Jones has been a big influence there.
There you go. No more roller dogs.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody involved.
Yeah.
Well, listen, this is not going to come as a surprise to you, but for some of the listeners, maybe. Nathan and I are very close friends. We probably talk on the phone 2 to 3 times a day about whatever business ideas. We have investment properties together.
I ignore a lot of calls.
He ignores a lot of calls, says he's on the phone, or gives me this automated message, says, I'm at an inspection, all this crap, whatever. But this again, won't come as a surprise to you, but I'm the emotional one out of the friendship here. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And I'll stop and just say, you're so inspiring with your story because you're one of the most hardest working people I know. There's no doubt about it. And the other thing I love is you just did the damn thing. And you went from scaling down to, my job, that was my full-time income. That was my W-2. I'm scaling. And then now I have to jump because I have to jump and do this for my family and the legacy that I want to build and what you want to build for yourself. And that's been one of the most inspiring things to watch. You don't have to reply to that. We can talk about it later. Yeah. One of the things that I want to talk about is the pivot into adding Radon as a service, because that was not right off of the bat.
No.
And that was, and I want to set the stage for you to reply to this, was I see this need and it's something that's in my wheelhouse that I can help offer to my clients to help them fully instead of just doing the home inspection, just doing it there. So tell us about how long was that pivot for Durant Radon Solutions and the thought behind that and all of that?
Yeah, so, radon testing is something most home inspectors do, if not all of them, as an add-on service because it's a common thing to get done during a real estate transaction. And radon's a gas that comes from the ground, collects in basements. Second leading cause of lung cancer. Smoking is number 1. Radon's number 2. So just testing for it, I saw the need for it, and I was like, oh, this would be a good side gig. I already know a lot of realtors. That's probably where my biggest referral comes from with radon, which I was actually wrong about that. My biggest customer, actually, people that lived in their house 20 years, just never tested. Their neighbor told about it. They read it in the paper. They saw it on TV.
So going into it, you thought, I'm going to get a lot of these referrals from realtors with new businesses.
When really I just get them from homeowners, which is kind of nice because you're a little bit more diversified, you know. Because, in New York, real estate slows down in the winter.
Yeah.
So, I actually pick up, do more radon in the winter time. And it's kind of direct to homeowners. That's where my main lead source is coming from. But saw the need for it. Started doing a few systems, and like I said, these people live in their house 20 years, never know anything about it. Test, find out it comes back high, and they're scared of it. They're actually scared of it. I had one lady. It was middle of January. She lived there 20 years. She tested. She was freaking out. I couldn't get there for a couple weeks. She had all her windows open in the middle of January to air it out because and I said, you've been here 20 years, another 2 weeks, probably not going to hurt you that much. And once you really help these people, they really appreciate you.
You make an impact on their lives.
Yes. Real people, real stories, real impact.
Thank you very much. We're trademarking that as well.
So I can get a joy out of it, A radon system isn't the prettiest thing to look at, which can be, a homeowner's fear, but that's not the point. It's to make your home safe. And like I said, they really appreciate it.
We're not going to hold you to a number here on the Make an Impact podcast, but if you had to guess, how many people out there that have homes do you think have an unsafe amount of radon in their house?
National average is 1 in 15.
1 in 15
homes. Yeah,
it's a good amount.
Yeah, it is.
And so just walk us through the process for people that might be listening about that. So you set the test. The test gives you a result, and then you can install a system that helps that.
So homeowners sometimes do their own test. Comes back high, which the line in the sand for radon is 4 picocuries or higher. EPA recommends you mitigate. So homeowners can do a test. Home inspectors do tests. So those are kind of where I get the main leads. They make radon monitors you can set in your house as well. Comes back high. They call me, come out for an estimate. And basically the system, a basic system, is you core a hole in the concrete floor of the basement most of the time, install a pipe, route that pipe to outside to a fan that runs continuously all the time. And that fan creates a negative pressure under your concrete floor. So any radon that comes up goes towards that vacuum and outside.
And out it goes.
And again, it's called mitigation because you'll never get rid of all the radon. Even outside, you're breathing a certain amount of radon. It's like a 0.2.
You just point the tube over to the neighbors?
Average. Yes.
You just curve
you got to be 10 feet away from a window or 2 feet above. And radon's heavier than air, so by the time it gets down to a breathing level, it's safe.
Oh, good.
Diluted in the fresh air.
Yes,
so,
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so the home inspection side of the business, obviously you work with a lot of first-time home buyers, or people that are buying their second, third house, whatever, but a majority probably first-time home buyers, getting their home inspection.
Yep.
You can't, I know just because of how well I know you spend hours at these homes going up and down, looking at every crevice. So we obviously don't have time to walk through all that, but just give us a walkthrough of what does a home inspection entail?
Yeah. So basically anything that makes the house operate, we're looking at, on the outside, the roof, exterior, windows, doors, porches, decks, fences, driveway, stuff like that. And obviously the garage, and then inside, everywhere from the attic, which a lot of people never go. So that's going to be one of our biggest surprises. And then behind the electrical panel, usually, because everyone thinks they're an electrician, unfortunately. So those are kind of the two biggest areas where we get surprised, major repairs or something, or scary things.
We're going to have to get into that.
So attic, and then interior, you're checking outlets, windows, doors, faucets, anything you use on a daily basis. And then in the basement structure, then furnace, water heater, AC, electrical panel, plumbing, everything, again, that makes the house operate. And it's a lot of things you don't think of, right? When you go to the bathroom, you don't think, you just expect your toilet to work, right? You expect your faucet to work. You expect it not to be leaking. You expect your furnace to turn on. You expect your AC to turn on. You expect your electrical panel to be safe. So it's just things that make the house operate you never think of. And especially as a home buyer, not even a first-time home buyer, you're going in there with all the emotion, right? So you're not thinking, you don't care what age the furnace is when you're going to look at this house. You care how big the backyard is, how nice the kitchen is. You're thinking about your family there. You're not thinking about, what makes this house operate. So that's where we go in. And sometimes it seems like really obvious things that some people don't see. And it's good. They're blinded by the emotion behind it. So even like contractors or something, someone that can fix all this stuff. There's still things they miss because, again, they're tied to the emotion and they're
right.
Not thinking about that. So even for them, it's a nice, I didn't notice that. That'll cost me this. Great.
Right.
I'll take care of that. Not a big deal. Or, foundation is cracked. Oh, that's a big repair. So, yeah.
Okay. So I hire you for a home inspection. You come do the home inspection. Then what happens after that?
So do the home inspection. I usually like my buyer there, my client there, just so they can ask questions, because some people never bought a home or they have a lot of questions just about operation, wanted to change the furnace filter, little stuff like that. So I like them there so they can ask those questions. Some people, will point at the water heater and be like, oh, what's this do? So answer all their questions. Anything I find, I like to show them, explain in person, this is why it's wrong. This is what can happen. This is what you can do to repair it. And then, again, it's a lot of information getting thrown at you, so I don't expect you to remember it all. So you get a full report at the end, pictures, comment on everything that's in correct form.
What do you think is that you hear with new clients that you work with is the biggest myth of home inspections? Misconception that people may think about the process that you hear clients talking about, asking questions when they make that first call to you?
They're always surprised how long it's going to take. I think they think maybe it's like an appraisal where the appraiser, he does a lot of stuff on the back end, but at the house, he's taking pictures, he's there for maybe 15, maybe 30 minutes.
Right. And the difference between the two for people who don't know?
Appraisal, the appraiser works for the bank basically. So he's just looking at value of the house. And depending what kind of loan you're doing, he might be looking for like obvious safety issues or, broken windows, stuff like that. That'll, again, affect the value of the house. And we work for the buyer. So we're looking out for the buyer itself, and we're looking at safety, operation, and condition. That's the difference between that. But our inspections take 2.5 to 3 hours because, again, we're looking at everything. Appraiser doesn't go in the attic unless it's a walk-up stairs where it's easily accessible. They're not going to open the electrical panel. They'll look at it to make sure it's breakers versus fuses. They'll look at the furnace to see, does it look really old or does it look halfway decent? But I don't even think they start them.
They're just doing a sweep through of the place.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to let you go without this point. You mentioned scary in the attic. What's the craziest home inspection story?
I've just seen some really, really dirty homes that smell really bad. I went into it was a 3-family, and upstairs the apartment smelled like beer cans and cat shit.
Really?
Yes. So it was a very terrible smell.
It's a recommendation on the report, probably.
Yeah, and it was funny because the realtor went to every other apartment with me, and then he's like, third one's upstairs. He didn't come with me, and I didn't think anything of it until I got up there. But I remember there's a screen door at the end, like a sliding door at the end, and I kind of went through it. Was trying to hold my breath, and I got to that end door and opened up and went on the deck, to
just
breathe.
hit you.
So that's the worst part about it is when you get into those homes and some of the living conditions.
You found some people taking a snooze as well, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
Got to wake them up early.
Yep. It's supposed to be vacant. Went into the house. heard someone snore. Luckily, it was a loud snore upstairs. And again, no furniture in the house, nothing. And so I'm, every house I go into, I'm usually, even if I know what's vacant, hello, because I want to be friendly. I don't want to surprise anyone.
Nope.
And as I was going up the stairs, hello, hey, this is Nate, Durant Home Inspections, here for a home inspection. Wouldn't wake up. I was knocking on the wall, trying to get him up. He wouldn't wake up. And I didn't want to go and
right.
poke him.
Right. It's not in the job description.
I don't want to surprise anyone. So I ended up, I just called the listing agent, and she sent over her buyer, and the guy, or the seller, the owner of the property, came over and it's all right. That was my brother. He's sleeping up there for a couple of days. He just had a sleeping bag on the floor.
Just a place he had to rest his head.
So yeah, you run into that every once in a while.
Well, Nathan, we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you very much for taking the time. Like I said, we've been trying to nail this down. You did great. We're gonna steal that tagline. We're gonna trademark that. We appreciate you bringing that to the show. Yeah,
absolutely.
I know you have. Where can people get in touch with you? What's the best way to get in touch with you? Who can you help? Give us the elevator pitch about Durant Home Inspections and Radon Solutions.
Yeah, so you can call me or text me on my phone, on my cell phone, 315-263-3693. You can go to our brand new website, actually. Just came out a few weeks ago. You can fill out a form there. It goes to my email. But obviously, any home buyers, any home sellers, actually, like pre-listing inspections, and then,
I was going to ask that. I meant to ask that. So you will do inspections for people that are going to sell their home. So if they see if there's something that might come up, or
so like a pre-listing inspection, and really we're focused on the big things. Again, nobody goes into their attic.
Right.
When's the last time you've been in your attic?
No,
Don't
long
even know
time.
if you have one.
Yeah, long time. Yeah.
So, stuff like that, things you don't think, everyone thinks their house is perfect. A lot of people do, and it is to them.
Sure.
And there's some things maybe you don't even know, or you're just never been up there or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of focus on the big things so they can get those taken care of before it comes up during a real estate transaction. And all of a sudden you either got to shell out money to get it fixed, or take money off the house, or the deal falls apart, when it's something we can prevent. But that's a pre-listed inspection. But yeah, home buyers, home sellers, everyone should test for radon. I'd be happy to do that for you, or get a home test. And then if you need mitigation, obviously give us a call.
What was the level to look for on those tests?
You want to be below 4.
Below 4.
Lower the better.
Lower the better.
But the EPA line in the sand is 4.
Well, very good.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Nathan, thank you for taking the time,
Thank
my friend.
you.
I appreciate you being here. Super proud of you. Like I said, your story is inspiring, and that's what this is all about, sharing great people, real stories, real people, and real impact. And that's Nathan Durant right there for you. Until next time, go out and lead with purpose, make an impact in someone's life today, even if that's your own. My name is Stephen Turnbull with the Make an Impact podcast. We'll see you next week. Take care.